Now if you don't want to come to the Dawah, we will bring the Dawah to you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. So in today's video we will be doing the part 3 of the refutation of Sultan's book, The Curse of God and Why I Left Islam. So in the previous video we did chapter 1, and so in today's video we'll be doing chapter 2, the necessity of religion. So he starts off with a quote by Christopher Hitchens, by Dr. Lawrence Krauss, actually, on Christopher Hitchens. Christopher Hitchens understood that the universe doesn't care about our existence, and our lives have meaning only to the extent that we give them meaning. So basically what he's saying is that we do not actually have any purpose in life. We are just making up our purpose, and that's that. Simple. So what you know what the funniest part is? In the same chapter he talks about something really funny. He talks about, you know, how his friend talks about incest as if it's a wrong thing. Okay, so according to Sultan, is inbreeding good or bad? Is a scientific question rather than a philosophical one. See, there's a problem. If you're saying that it is beneficial and it helps in evolution, this is a fallacy, because this is the argument he's basically making, that it helps with, you know, it is evolutionary more beneficial that we do not inbreed. He's making a fallacy of nature, or pleading to evolution, or so here he talks about, you know, his with his conversation with his friend, and he gives the reason that human beings it is wrong for them to, you know, have intercourse with their own siblings is because, you know, because of evolutionary reasons. This is a appeal to nature fallacy. Just because something is you know, naturally good, naturally beneficial, or, you know, naturally not beneficial, it does not determine if something is good or bad. Richard Dawkins in his book said that there is nothing that is really good or bad. So Harris, what are you trying to say here exactly? You are making fallacious arguments. I'm sorry to tell you this, but they are. And then Harris goes and, you know, starts to quote, you know, journal Religion and Society, okay, where he compared that the best societies in the world are those which have least religious influences. And let's look into it. Okay, so he first quotes like Japan, which has less influence of religion, and 80% believes in evolution, and they are basically a Buddhist majority, but they do not really believe in, you know, some Abrahamic religion. That's what he's trying to say. So he's saying that as you can see, he's trying to make a relation, but this relation is not really, you know, it's not a causal relation. Just because it's the security and the less homicide rate in these countries is not due to there not being religion, as you can clearly see. Because if he's saying that Japan is safe and Japan is better due to this religion, due to their belief in religion, then UAE is even better than Japan, and they are a Muslim majority country, and they do not give rights to a lot of people that Harvard's belief should be given rights to. So we can clearly see that this relation, this correlation that he's trying to put forward is not really true. And then he quotes, you know, Robert Putnam and David Campbell, so of American Gate, how religion divides us. Well, you see, that's not really something that you know, you can conclude is bad. Or Harris, you yourself would not want to live with murderers, rapists, pedophiles. So why are you saying that separation is bad? It doesn't follow. It is not necessarily bad just because religion divides us. Yes, we are divided more than, you know, religions are divided, and there is more hatred than there needs to be. Sure, we can talk about that, but just saying that there is, you know, just a division, religion creates division, and hence it is bad. This is just bad. This is just a bad argument on your end. So let's move on. I don't want to take too much time on this, as we have shown that the relation that he's trying to build from the start is false. And then we can go upon, you know, Then he quotes a comedian for some reason, an American comedian, political commentator Bill Maher. He asked a believer, "Why is the afterlife so beautiful?" He doesn't kill himself so he could go to the better place. Obviously, the guy had no answer. So basically, this comedian asked the guy, "Why doesn't he kill himself if to go to the better place?" Once again, a bad argument. A Muslim believes that, and even Christians, as far as I know, believe that if you kill yourself, it doesn't mean that you automatically go to the afterlife. There is something that you need to fulfill, and especially in Islam, suicide is a major sin, and you can stay in hell due to this reason. You can stay in hell for many years or forever. Most of the opinion is that if you kill yourself while knowing it's a sin, you stay in hell forever. So yeah, yes, this is a bad argument by Bill Maher or whatever his name is, and it is bad on his end, on the end of Haris Sultan, to try to make this argument. So let's move on from that. Then Haris says, going with this consideration that religious people actually believe in the afterlife, there are two possible reasons why we do not have a mass suicide in the religious world. They love their life here on earth so much, or the second one is that they think that they haven't lived their life as per the instruction of God. This is where hell comes in. So what he's trying to say is that there are only two reasons people don't kill themselves for religious. They believe that they still have a lot to do in this world before they die to enjoy this life, or they haven't lived their life as per the scriptures. Okay, well, this is wrong. Even if someone has lived their life as per the scriptures, he still wouldn't kill himself. Okay, even if he was confident that he has lived a life so good that he goes to heaven, he wouldn't kill himself if killing him was the sin itself. So you need to make that point that killing themselves is a sin, which I don't see Haris doing really well here. He gives his basic emotional reasoning. He gives his emotional arguments. He gives how a Muslim left Islam and she was scared of leaving Islam because she feared hellfire. See, Haris is trying to make this argument that the reason that people are still Muslim is because of hellfire. Haris, if your point is to disprove Islam, this does not disprove Islam. You're just arguing from emotion here multiple times. You need to show where Islam contradicts itself. For example, this will disprove Islam. Then you cannot be a Gnostic atheist. At least then you have to be an agnostic or an agnostic atheist if you're disproving Islam like this. And if that is the case, then they should very rightfully be scared of hell, because there is a good chance that there is a hell, because Islam does have evidence, and we hopefully will get into that. So let's go on, and what else does he talk about? So he talks about charity, and for his understanding, yes, religious people do give more charity, but he's saying that even atheists and these type of people give more charity, so it doesn't matter. This is basically the argument that he's trying to put forward. But is that really the case? Muslims and other religions, they adopt more, they do more social work, and here are stats for that. So it is clear that religious people take more part in society. So him claiming that they are just equal for the society or something like that, the argument that he's trying to put forward is very close to that. And I'm not trying to strawman, but if you read his book, it's pretty clear the arguments that he's trying to put forward. And it is clear by these stats that religious people are better for the society compared to atheists. Even, let's say for the sake of the argument, even if they give the same amount of charity, which is not true, they do not give the same amount of charity. But the thing is that religious people take in more kids, they adopt more, they do more social work, and more stuff like that. So once again, Haris, do more research. So, and in page 26, he says that he disagrees that God not existing is not a scientific question. Okay, yeah, basically what he says is that in his page 26 he says that is not a scientific question. This shows how he has no idea of what he is actually talking about. Okay, because God is it is a metaphysical concept. it is metaphysical. God is metaphysical. He's not something that you can judge with science and you can conclude by scientific experiments or something like that. So he's trying to quote physicists and scientists who talk about God and why they are debating that God exists or not, and we have actual gene that forces us to believe that there is a higher power, and how this gene is not where, like, it does not necessitate that God exists. So, and he also made this absurd argument that if you have a gene, I'm quoting him right here, if you have a gene that forces us to believe that in a higher being, we should remove that gene through science. What is he talking about? So, okay, if a gene, okay, so basically you're saying that you can conclude that God does not exist, and we remove this gene and we won't believe in God. That is what you're basically saying. Okay, then according to Richard Dawkins, morality does not really exist, so why don't you remove that gene? Genius. So, such absurd arguments. This was in his page 29. Then he makes many emotional and his personal arguments, which I am not going to entertain. Let's move on to actually some good part, like some argument that he's trying to prefer and some stats that he's looking into. So he talks about depression. So a lot of Muslims say that yes, depression and suicide rates are higher in countries that are non-Muslim or not religious, which is true, which is definitely true. And that Muslim countries do have low suicide rates. That is definitely true. Then he makes this huge strawman, and he says that Kazakhstan has less suicide rate. He basically says that Kazakhstan has a very high suicide rate, more than South Korea, more than Japan, more than Nigeria, even more than USA. Well, you see, Kazakhstan is a secular state. It is not necessarily a Islamic state. As Muslim, we would not call it Darul Islam. It is not a Darul Islam. Kazakhstan is not a Darul Islam. Kazakhstan is, well, simply put, a secular state, and most of their people are not that practicing. Unfortunately, inshallah, in the future they will be, and if they do become, then this suicide rate will definitely go down. We can be sure about that. But as for now, you are making a strawman argument because you're comparing Kazakhstan to other Muslim countries when you cannot make a relation. Okay, that's the fallacy of hasty generalization. Kazakhstan is a Muslim country. You can say that it is a Muslim country in the sense that it is a Muslim majority, and in that sense, but you cannot compare it to Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or something like that, because first of all, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, more than 90% of their population is Muslim, but Kazakhstan is about 70 or 72, 73% of them are Muslim. So already there is a false generalization, or a false, you cannot put them in the same basket already. And then when you look at it, Saudi Arabia, it claims to have Sharia, they have capital punishment and stuff like that, but Kazakhstan is considered to be a secular state. So this, once again, this equating them and making an argument is a really bad argument. And once again, his own chart shows that Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, they have less suicide rate compared to non-Muslim countries and secular countries like Japan. So we can clearly make this relation that secular countries have a higher suicide rates. And by the way, Harris in his book completely supports the idea of secularism and westernization, which Kazakhstan has unfortunately gone through. So now that argument is done with, a really horrible argument once again, so we can move on from that. Now, thank you guys for watching. Ma salama.